Just because you know how to do something really well doesn't mean it makes a business. What you know how to do really well, you need to make sure is a problem that is causing pain out there to your target market. And that is harder to do than it sounds.
The be your own boss culture is everywhere these days. Leave your 9 to 5, hustle hard, start your own business. But as exciting as it sounds, it's easier said than done. Today, I'm talking with Dianne Campbell, who made the leap from 30 years of corporate work for Microsoft, Cisco, HP, and Samsung to starting her own business called Productivity. At Productivity, she helps small business owners increase profits by improving how their businesses run behind the scenes. We'll talk about what inspired her to make the transition, the challenges she faced along the way, and the skills that are helping her to succeed and the lessons she is learning along the way. Thanks again, Dianne, for being here.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So, Dianne, you spent many years at companies like Microsoft, Cisco, HP, Samsung. That's a dream for many people. They'd love to work at these companies. So, what inspired you to take the leap from full time employment at these companies to starting your own business?
That's a really great question. For me, after enough years in corporate, there comes a time when you age out. Getting a corporate job is really great when you're just out of college and you can work for several decades. And then at a certain point, the corporations like to get younger people in. And so for me, I stayed in longer than most people. So I'm really grateful for that. But I saw that the time was right for me to exit, and I was really waiting to start my own company. I knew that was going to be in my future because I wasn't ready to retire, and so knew that starting my own company was going to be the way that I was going to be able to continue to work.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So I'm sure that there's a lot from your corporate experience that you've transitioned over that has helped you now as a business owner. So what are those parts that has really been helpful that you can transition over?
So I have learned how to talk to a wide variety of people. And I've learned over the years how to sell a solution based on not so much the features of it, but the benefits of the solution to the person I'm talking to. And that skill has helped me when I launched my company try to formulate my marketing, try to codify, if you will, how I was going to present my solution. And it's easy, it's really very easy to talk the features of what it is you're selling. And that's a trap that most people fall into who are not seasoned salespeople. But when you can transition to talking about the benefits instead, it's been very helpful for me as I talk about what I'm offering at Productivity.
So it's good to hear that there were a lot of skills that you learned from corporate in sales and you're able to use them now as you're running your business. But still shifting from corporate to running your own business, it's a big thing. So was there any skills that you needed to develop from scratch, some of the business skills and knowledge?
So I had been on the sales side for a long time and operations side, and there have, whenever I needed anything that even remotely did not fall into those buckets, in corporate, there were teams and departments that provided that. So I just needed to reach out to those departments and say, I need this, I need that. And I don't have that luxury as a business owner now. I wear all the hats. And so there have been some social media skills, some application skills, and definitely some marketing skills that were done for me that I need to do myself. If I write a blog post and somebody downloads it from my website, I want to be able to have an automated way to reach out to that person, thank them for downloading it, and maybe a way to keep in touch with them. And these are simple but fairly sophisticated sequences to put into place. And so I never had to do that when I was working for large companies. They took care of that for sure. And there were a lot of content writers on staff, and I do all the content writing now. I need to be the one that develops my own CRM. And so I learned HubSpot, I learned quite a few Monday.com and other sorts of tools that are made for small business that help me conduct my business. And when I was working for global corporations, those were tools that were already in place and that I'd been using, but they were geared toward much larger corporations. So it's been a learning curve.
It's been a learning curve, but you've learned a lot, which is awesome. I'm sure there's many other rewarding parts of running your business. What are some of those rewarding aspects of it?
When I was working for larger corporations, part of what I did was advise and manage small business as part of strategic initiatives. And that gave me a real heart and a love for small business and the grit and the courage and the just sheer determination it takes to start a business. And so that's now my target market in my company. And I'm a small business owner now too, but I focus exclusively on other small businesses as part of the process that I learned when I was working for larger corporations. I have seen so many small businesses from a management vantage point. And so I have come to see from an outsider's view looking in what the weaknesses are, what the strengths are for small business, and where they need help. And so I'm able now to target the size of business between 1 and 5 million, which is a special place for small businesses. It's not nothing to get there, but to get from maybe 5 to 10, they need certain things in place that almost all of them never pay attention to. So these are some of the solutions I offer, and it has been a real joy to be able to step in, talk to a business owner, many different kinds of business owners, and explain to them that if operations don't scale with their growth, they're going to get held back, and be able to step in and help them do that. That's been really wonderful.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's good to hear the rewarding aspects of it. And I'm sure there's challenges that come as well from running your business. So, what are some of those challenges that you have to overcome?
When you start a business, it is not usually not an instant overnight success. And it takes a long time, longer than I thought, actually, to get the momentum going. It's very difficult at first when you are an unknown to get out, network, get your name out there, become known, start getting your first clients. That took longer and more work than I had expected. And so in the very beginning, I would say one of the challenges is giving yourself enough runway. So if you're doing it full time, you need to have an income source. And if you're doing it on the side while you're still fully employed, that's one way to preserve your income. But if you're bootstrapping it from savings, triple the amount of time that you think it's going to take.
That is really helpful. Triple the amount of time that it's going to take. And that's just for getting a word out, marketing, and that kind of thing. If you think you need just 1 month, you probably actually need 3 or 4.
Or if you think you need 1 year, you need 3 years.
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting. And earlier you mentioned that when you're running your own business, you wear all the hats.
That's right.
And you mentioned it's helpful if you have some type of other income to help you out, because some folks might dump their job to commit to their business. But then you have to think about paying yourself. You have to think about profit immediately. You're thinking about health insurance and benefits, right? Those are some of the things that you would no longer have tied to a business.
And also the legal fees. I have an LLC, so that is possibly a DIY situation, but I'm not an expert. And so I had to hire an attorney for that. And then I trademarked a couple of taglines and my company name and logo. And that's if you're not also paying a graphic artist to come up with the logo. And then your domain name for your email and any monthly fees for HubSpot, Monday.com, or all the applications that you need for your CRM and for your task management, et cetera. That's if what you're offering is a service that doesn't have overhead and you work from home. So if you have an actual product you're trying to manufacture, add more to that. So yeah, starting a business, even if you're just relying on the knowledge that you're offering as a service, is not free.
Thanks for sharing that. And with everything that you've mentioned here, do you think there's anything that you wish you knew before making the transition that you think would make it a little bit smoother when going into launching your own business?
I was in sales for many decades, and I had a good understanding of what it took to sell something, but my target market was other global Fortune 500 companies, not small business. And I would say I came into my company super confident that my service, I knew it was needed. I knew it solved a problem.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a challenging environment to walk into that took a lot longer to start becoming profitable than I thought it would. And that's with me understanding the baseline rules of sales and how to be successful. It is a far different sale that I was used to than I'm faced with right now. So I would say that one of the things I wished I knew, to answer your question, was to give myself more of a runway in order to start becoming profitable. I thought that it would not take that long. And I was very confident because I saw the problem out there and that I knew how to fix it. But that's not enough. I think I would say that I wish I was mentally more prepared and really financially more prepared, I would say, for the longer haul before I started making income.
That's really helpful. And everything that you've shared so far has been really helpful. If you had one piece of advice, or is there anything else that you'd like to mention to someone who might be thinking of transitioning from corporate or full time role into starting your own business?
Two things. So, one, be persistent. Be persistent. Don't give up. Don't get rattled easily. Don't get discouraged easily. Make sure you have a support system around you, be it a spouse or a significant other or family or friends that will encourage you, because you will need that. There are times when you're unhappy that you even did this, and that's when they need to step in, and you need to let them. You need to call on your support system when you feel yourself flagging a little bit and let them encourage you. That's their job, and you encourage them in different ways, in ways that they need, and you need to let them encourage you. And second, you don't want to be a solution looking for a problem. Just because you know how to do something really well doesn't mean it makes a business. What you know how to do really well, you need to make sure is a problem that is causing pain out there to your target market. And that is harder to do than it sounds. So, what I did and what I recommend is, call it what you want, customer listening exercises. Get on the phone, get on Zoom, get in front of who you think your target market is, and don't sell them. Ask them questions. I came up with 10 questions, no more than that, because you don't want to wear them out, and ask them if what you think is the pain is what they're feeling. And ask them if what you think solves that pain is something they would spend money on to get.
So, when you did that exercise and you had those 10 questions, did you call the businesses and say, hello, I want to launch a business, or I have this business and I want to know your pain points and you might be an ideal customer later? How did you go about doing that?
That's a good question. No, I used my network again, and I called up people that they weren't business owners at all. Most of them were full-time employees still. And I said, who do you know that I could talk to that would give me 15 or 20 minutes that owns their own company? Sometimes it was like, yeah, my brother runs an insurance company. They've got 4 employees. I'm like, perfect. Other times when people would say, I'd like to help you, but I don't really know anyone. And I would push back a little and say, who's your HVAC guy? Who cleans the windows of your 3-story house? Who does your lawn? Just give me small businesses. I want to talk to them. And so, generally speaking, I didn't know very many small business owners either, but I did know a few from that I could call from my days of working. And so little by little, I put together, let me see, I think around 12 business owners to ask my 10 questions to.
And you found that those business owners were pretty receptive and happy to chat and answer the questions.
They were, but you know what? I promised them I wouldn't sell them. This is not about me trying to make you a customer. I promise there's no sales involved. I'm just trying to learn and I just want to listen to you. And they became receptive then. But you have to keep to that promise.
Yeah, because it can be tough. And you're like, actually, I have a solution to this problem that you mentioned. So that's awesome. And honestly, from that, referrals can come and things like that, and it can actually end up working out. So after you talked to your network and they sent you the contacts, then call those contacts and let them know that you are a business and you're trying to survey your customers and things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome.
I said, I want to make sure that what I'm offering is something that the market wants. And so therefore I have these 10 questions.
Awesome. You're mentioning some things about your business. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention about your business or your services? Please do.
My company, Productivity, helps small business find profit in their process. So we document processes and procedures in order to get everything written down because growth requires repeatability. And a lot of times, operations, which are part of these processes and procedures, don't scale with a company's growth. And when that is the situation, it holds them back. So we help them be able to get to the next level and make sure that their operations support them.
Perfect. Thanks so much for sharing, Dianne. And thanks for everything that you shared. Actually, this was awesome. I really appreciate you sharing a little bit more about those experiences.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Sure, no problem. Hopefully, you enjoyed our episode and learned a thing or two from the career conversation. I hope you'll join us for the next one. But until then, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more tips and suggestions to help you in exploring your career opportunities. Until next time, I'm your host, Amen, signing off.